People, deluded, I'm back again. Arsenal 2, Man United 0. You lot say I never smile. I don't believe I smile too tough, but I think even the guy is smiling right now. And what can I say, people? First and foremost, obviously United and Arsenal seasons, to put it nicely, is woeful. Two fallen giants, not competing for anything. This is just for pride. We won, clean sheet. Obviously, second half was a bit nervous, but at the end of the day, 2-0, clean sheet at home. Arteta's first game. Everything he called for in his conferences and all his speeches before he took over is being resonated so far in his 4 odd games that he's been at the helm. We've got a long way to go, as you lot know, but it's nice to see that the players have clearly bought into it. Some of these players are still obviously not good enough, but game to a game, there's been some positives. Not how the Chelsea game ended, but there was positives to take forward into this game against United. And what can I say? There was aggression, there was passion, there was tenacity, there was work ethic. There was also listening to game management and not game management. There was listening to Arteta's tactics and actually buying into what he wants to do. Application, could not have asked more, man to a man. Obviously, second half, there's still teething problems with how we manage out games. I personally felt we allowed United a bit too much possession, probably allowed them too much joy in the first half. But as you lot know, that's because our players are simply blowing out of gas. The football we're trying to play takes a lot out of you. Some of these players are not going to be able to do it long term. Some of them are, but all of them are having to adjust. And we still have teething problems with how we manage out games. On another day, United could have probably taken advantage. On another day in the first half, we should have scored more. But all in all, what can I say, people? 2-0 victory. It is what it is, and I just hope that these boys are sitting there and saying this is where our season really starts. We're not going to win league titles. Top 4 mathematically is possible, but I think it's a myth. Europa League, it is what it is. But they should be saying to themselves, this is what we do. This becomes the minimum now. We're rightly so. They're praised for it. Man to a man, couldn't have asked no one for more today, people. But this becomes the minimum now, to the point this ain't even praise. This is the basics of playing for Arsenal again. These same things, take these feelings and apply it and do it in everything we're doing. What they're doing in terms of training and how they carry themselves, because that's the only way we're going to get back. But relation today, I couldn't have asked for more, people. Obviously, it's obviously nice that Pepe scored. Banter aside, I know a lot of my United fan friends have been getting on to me about Pepe and things, and making, as we do with their signings, making light of his price tag, and it's a bit ironic. I mean, what can I say? Martial back-pocketed, Rashford back-pocketed, Wan-Bissaka completely spanned by Kolasinac, dominated them, really. Yes, they're missing McTominay and Pogba, but it is what it is. Couldn't have asked the boys for more. I'm happy with the result, people. First half, I actually felt both teams tried to cancel each other out. It looked like both teams were going to try and, I wouldn't say over-press, but press aggressively and try and make the most in possession. And it did look like both teams initially were trying to feel each other out. I feel literally the first 5 minutes, United probably were the more positive of the two sides, to be fair. But after that, like you saw against Chelsea, literally everything that was there in the first half against Chelsea, zip, desire, work ethic. You see Kolasinac down that left-hand side could not be stopped today, moving mad. I didn't even think he would be back because he's had these injuries, and I know he came off. Hopefully that's just, rustiness and fatigue, and it's not no setback or anything. Bulldozering down that left-hand side could not be stopped. Ozil, lovely passes. Obviously, Pepe and the front men linking up when they can link up. I felt we were superb. The midfield men, Torreira again, superb. Xhaka missed last game. Whether he leaves or not, he is playing out of his skin so far. Superb. Got to hail up the defence as well, specifically. Everyone played well today. Leno, even for Rashford towards the end of the game, but David Luiz and Socrates, I don't believe either is good enough long term to move forward, and I'm one of their big critics. But Socrates missed last game with a concussion, but Luiz has looked very good in his last 2 games. Today he was superb. He didn't put a foot wrong today. He's potentially the man of the match. Everyone was good, but if I'm looking at it, it's a toss up between potentially Mesut Ozil. I feel it's actually Kolasinac, and then I'm potentially looking at David Luiz. And again, because of how good we played, I'm saying that, you lot are saying something else, and that's a good thing. That's what I saw today was superb today, because you could see these players didn't want to go in the dressing room and let themselves look in the mirror and know they've let themselves down, fearful of letting themselves and their people them down, fearful of letting their teammates down, ultimately the fans and the manager. And obviously it remains to be seen if Arteta's going to be a success here. But from what I've seen in the 4 games, and another reason as to why I'm behind him, because everything we suspected we're seeing in terms of he's attempting to have a clear philosophy. There's a clear way of playing, and everything starts from there. We're actually getting the ball forward. We're playing with some belief. We're playing with some intent. At times I did think there was a bit of overconfidence, but I prefer that than us being cowards. We was playing with a swagger. We was playing with a bit of overconfidence at times, especially playing out from the back. Quality performance. And I was actually nervous going into this game, and more so the duration of this game. I always am against the top 6 people, really and truly. I think the stating of refereeing in the Premier League needs to be reviewed, because how Kolasinac gets a yellow card for that first initial challenge, fair enough, but then it becomes inconsistent, because on one hand you can say Kolasinac should have got another yellow. There was one Matic, Martial, I think a couple of their players on both sides made cynical fouls, so I wasn't really understanding the grey areas and the logic the referee was coming with, potentially even Luiz as well. But I think we did alright, man. I think we defended well. There was a couple of nervy moments. I did feel we should have scored some more goals in the first half, and I did also feel we was probably leaving a bit too much in terms of on the counter-attack, because United, when in the first half at least, when they didn't listen, United were dull, they were stale, they were lacking ideas, they were poor. But I did think there was potential avenues for them to exploit in terms of counter-attacking, and I did think we left ourselves open to that to a degree. But we was quality, people. We deserved our goal. Kolasinac working very hard down that left-hand side. Shout out to Aubameyang for doing the same as well. Obviously, there's potentially a good luck or fortune for how it falls to Pepe, but it falls to the right person. He keeps calm, he puts it home, and he puts us 1-0 ahead, people, really and truly. And again, I'm happy with what I'm seeing, but I'm also thinking to these players, I'm hoping that they're thinking, we was in this, if we ever get into the same scenario we was last week, we need to manage this game, innit? Because 1-0 is a very good goal to get in a top 6 game, but it's what we do from this. It's nice to see we've got it early on and we can build from it. And like I said, you saw a spring in our step. We're creating chances, we're doing our thing. Again, potentially need to make more of these chances that we're creating, or create better quality chances, but it's definitely the right things we're seeing, really and truly. Obviously 1-0, you're never confident at 1-0 as an Arsenal fan, and I'm looking at it towards the end of the first half. I'm looking at it regardless. I'm saying, like I said against Chelsea, the half-time team talk is vital, because because if you go into half-time and it's only 1-0 United, they should have some positives. For Arsenal, what I've just said, plus we was in familiar territory in our last Premier League fixture at the Emirates. So can we be a bit more sensible? Can we learn from our mistakes? And to be honest, literally just before, I swear it was, I don't remember the specific minute, but just before half-time we get the second goal. It comes from a corner. Poor marking in general from United. David De Gea has looked a bit shaky, because I'm sure Lacazette pressed him at a point as well, and it led to Pepe hitting the post. But I don't know what David De Gea is doing from the corner. I'm not going to say it's his fault alone, but it does look like a keeper should be doing better. Falls to Socrates, and Socrates is having a good game. No nonsense defending at the back. Literally, we're defending like our lives depend on it. We're defending like a relegation threatened side, and obviously that's bad, but that's almost a positive. That psychologically for me anyways, our approach to defending is more positive. And Socrates, for me, 10 out of 10 game, really. I'm the first on his case, but he was quality. Either way, he takes advantage. And unfamiliar goal scorer, yes, but he pops up. Who cares who scores in these games? It's 2-0. Now, half-time is vital. We've gone one better than against Chelsea, in the sense that I wouldn't say insurance, but we've got 2 goals. 2 goals are better than 1, especially as an Arsenal fan. But it's the cliche saying, 2 goals is a dangerous lead. United score, make it 2-1. With their players, it can become nervy. And Arsenal, like you see, you probably would bet against us, regardless of how we're playing, and especially defenders, to concede a second. So we then find ourselves in, learning how to manage the game, learning our mistakes from last week, but also, I guess, finding that decision what do we do? Are we just going to be content with this 2-0 lead? Are we going to potentially try and get a third and run the risk of 2-1? Or are we going to try and make it a 3-1? So we have to kind of be sensible. Second half, I think we dropped off a bit. I'm not going to lie, because we was out of steam. I felt we stopped playing. It's good that we defended well and we cleared, but it did feel like we was hanging on for dear life at times. And this and that sort of stuff happens, people, as naturally we're getting tired. Similar to the game against Chelsea, I think players are just tired. There's no focal point. There's not really much on when we try to counter, because everybody's stuck defending and everybody's literally knackered. And there was a lot of these elements in the second half. We did obviously have chances where we could have done more, but in general, I think we did well enough, man. We managed the game out well. Could not ask more from anyone out there that started the game. Was a bit I'm one of Reece Nelson's biggest fans, and I'm not saying anything, but I was a bit disappointed in what I saw from him as well, because he kept falling on the floor, passes weren't as sharp, and he was quality in the game prior against Chelsea. He was fairly decent. Maybe quality is a stretch, but he was decent. But other than that, it's not about individual performances, it's about the collective, it's about pride in the performance, and that's what it is. We put pride in our last 2 performances. Obviously, the way it ended against Chelsea is upsetting, but there's some sort of pride where we're putting in a shift and there's a bit more credibility. And the more they do this, the more, for me, it goes towards mending. I'm not going to say players and fans have a fractured relation, but it goes towards mending these sort of things and the question marks of not caring. Because I believe it or not, if I'm a professional footballer, that's going to hurt my pride if you tell me I don't care. So when you're showing this sort of thing, it's a positive. It's a 2-0 victory, of course, people. Arsenal, we don't get too many days to enjoy our banter. So on that note, I'm going to keep it moving, people. I'm going to terrorize my United supporting friends and family. But on that note, like I said, man, Arsenal 2, Manchester United 0, quality performance, and hopefully this is a marker, especially in Arteta's first game. Hopefully this is a marker for better things, or salvaging some of our season on a positive note. But on that front, nothing more to add. People, Deluded, as usual, it's been a pleasure, but let me get out of here.